This is a story about a man who made $4 million by selling body parts from dead people. His name was Michael Mastromarino. At the start of this, he was 36 years old and lived in New Jersey. Michael was actually very successful. He worked as a dentist. He was a surgeon for teeth and mouths, but he had a secret problem. He was addicted to strong painkillers. He hurt his back once and got a prescription, but then he couldn't stop taking them. He started using his job as a doctor to get more of the drugs. He didn't tell anyone about this, so his friends and family thought he was doing fine. But in the year 2000, his life started to fall apart. He was in the middle of a surgery on a patient when he felt like he needed drugs right away. He told his team he had to go to the bathroom for a minute. Inside the bathroom, he used a needle to take a drug called Demerol, but he took too much. He got way too high and couldn't walk back to the surgery room. He fell down and passed out right there on the floor. After a while, the people at the hospital wondered where he went. His patient was still asleep on the table waiting for him to finish the work. The staff went to look for him and found him on the bathroom floor. He was unconscious and still had the needle in his hand. Now everyone knew he was an addict. Someone called the police. Michael was arrested for using illegal drugs while at work. A judge told him he had to go to rehab and he lost his medical license for a while. But Michael didn't follow the rules. He started working on teeth again, even though he wasn't allowed to. He got caught and was banned from being a dentist for 4 more years. It was now 2001. Michael had no job and no way to make money. He had a family and bills to pay, so he needed a plan. He decided to use what he knew about medicine to start a body tissue business. This business involves taking things like bones and skin from dead people to sell them. This is a real thing that is legal if the family says it is okay. It's like when people donate their organs or their bodies to help doctors learn. Michael realized he could make a lot of money if he sold these parts to big companies, but he needed a way to get a lot of dead bodies to work on. He decided to start working with local funeral homes. Usually, a funeral home can let you take tissue if the family signs a paper. To do it the right way, Michael had to ask the grieving families for permission, but he didn't want to wait or risk them saying no. He started his own company called Biomedical Tissue Services. He began calling funeral directors all over the area. He told them he would pay them $1,000 for every body they let him use. The funeral directors liked the money and said yes to the deal. Michael would go to the funeral homes and take whatever he wanted from the bodies. He took everything he could sell, like bones, skin, and even heart valves. He never asked the families if this was okay. Instead, he just faked their signatures on the permission forms. The funeral directors didn't check, they just took his money. They let him do whatever he wanted behind closed doors. Michael then took the parts and sold them to medical supply companies. These companies also wanted to see the permission papers. Michael gave them more fake documents saying the families had agreed. This plan worked perfectly for a long time. Michael was making money every single day. But there was a big problem he had to worry about. If a family saw the body and noticed parts were missing, he would be in big trouble. If anyone found out he was cutting up bodies for money, he would go to jail. So he came up with a way to hide what he was doing. This part of the story is very strange and sad. If a family wanted an open casket where people could see the body, Michael had to make the body look like it was still whole. He would put fake things inside the body to replace the bones he took. If he took a leg bone, he would put a plastic plumbing pipe in its place. He also stuffed the bodies with old rags, paper towels, or gloves to keep the shape. He filled them up like a toy and then sewed the skin back together. When he was done, the body looked normal enough to be in a funeral. It worked so well that none of the families noticed anything was wrong. Because he wasn't getting caught, he started doing it even more. His business got bigger and he was taking more bodies than ever. More bodies meant he was becoming very rich. He was making about $7,000 to $10,000 from every single person he used. The money was coming in very fast. But Michael wanted even more money, so he started breaking more rules. He started taking parts from very old people. Usually you can't use tissue from people who are too old or sick. There are strict rules to make sure the tissue is safe for other patients. Michael didn't care about safety, he only cared about the profit. He decided to take tissue from everyone, even if they were sick. He just lied on the paperwork to make the bodies look healthy. He changed the ages and the reasons why people died. If someone was 100 years old, he would write that they were 70. If they died of a bad disease, he would write that it was a heart attack. Because of this, people who got these body parts started getting very sick. People were getting diseases like hepatitis from the dirty tissue. Even though people were getting hurt, Michael did not stop. He kept cutting up bodies and selling the parts. The parts were sent to hospitals and patients all over the world. This went on for several years. It looked like he was going to get away with it forever. But in 2004, a funeral home in Brooklyn got a new owner. The new owner found out the old boss had stolen money from a customer. The old boss took money for a funeral but never actually did it. The new owner called the police to report the theft. While the police were looking into the money, they found strange papers. They saw documents connecting the funeral home to Michael's company. Soon, the police found out about the whole $4 million operation. They discovered he had used over 1,000 bodies. Only one of those families had actually given him permission. The police put out a warrant for Michael's arrest. He eventually gave himself up to the authorities. He went to court and was sentenced to 54 years in prison.